All right, family, welcome back to another God-fearing video. So today what I have for you guys is 7 traits that are going to be very important for you guys on this walk. 7 traits that you must have as a Christian, okay? 7 traits that you must have as someone who believes in God, all right? Because if you don't have these traits, then there's going to be things that are going to go wrong in your life, all right? And I will explain. So number one is already written down. Love, okay? I'm not just talking about love that you may have for a spouse, a partner, a child, a mother, a father. I'm not talking about that kind of love. But the love here is the same love that the Father has, okay? The same unconditional love that the Father has, all right? And just because the Father loves us unconditionally does not mean that he does not give us consequences, all right? So love, it's important to have love because God has love and God gives you love in everything that he does. All right. So when you love people, that means that you're being selfless. That means that you're not thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about them. You're thinking about what's better for them. What's the best outcome for them, not for yourself. OK, because when God made us, when he made the earth for us, God wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about us. He was thinking about us and everything, okay? Everything that we would need, everything that we might ever want or desire, God made sure that it was on earth because he was thinking about us. So when you're loving people and when you're out in the world maneuvering, make sure that you're operating in love, okay? And that doesn't mean that you're going to operate in a way where you're never benefiting, but it means that you're operating in a way where you're giving people what they deserve, all right? What they deserve from a godly sense, from a godly perspective. You're giving people love. You're treating them with respect. You're treating them like they're a human being. You're treating them like you understand that they were also sinners or are sinners, okay? You're giving them love, all right? So that is the first one. Now, the next thing, all right? Next thing here on the fruits of the Spirit, all right? But these are just traits that we need to have, all right? They're not just the fruits of the Spirit. These are skills. These are traits. These are habits that we need to learn in our lives, okay? Joy, all right? Now, joy, it may sound obvious. It may sound like, oh, just joy. Like, of course I'm going to be joyful. But no, joy is about being present. Joy is about gratitude. Joy is about understanding your situation in life. Joy is about understanding that God made you a certain way. Therefore, you have joy in that, okay? God made you a certain way. God made me a certain way. So I'm going to be happy that God made me the way I am. And you're going to be happy that God made you the way you are. And you're going to move through your life, all right, with the love that you already have in you. And you're going to have joy about yourself. And you're going to be yourself, okay? So we understand that a lot of these things that I'm going to mention here in this video, they may sound like they're coming from the world, but the truth is that God gave us the blueprint to life. So I'm just going to help us understand all these things. All right, we're going to go through it together and we're going to understand that God gave us the blueprint to life, and we don't need to go to these worldly people and Satan's children to understand the world and how we should operate in it. All right. So joy, I know it might seem obvious, but joy is about being at peace with yourself. Okay? And love is about loving you plus others. All right? So love is about loving yourself and loving others, and joy is about being at peace with who you are and living your life joyfully, understanding that God meant for your life to be the way that it is so that you can keep on seeking after him. Okay. Now, peace. All right. I know I kind of covered peace already in the joy part, but peace isn't just about understanding yourself, but peace is about understanding the world, okay? understanding the world, understanding God's intention, understanding God's purpose in your life, understanding where you're going in your own life, understanding where other people are going in their own lives, understanding that just because something bad happened to you today, that doesn't mean that your whole life is over. Just because you might be in the lowest point of your life right now, you might be experiencing the worst turmoil, the worst storms, you might be homeless, you might be without food, you might be broke, your car might be messed up, you might have just lost somebody. Any of those cases, this is where peace comes in, okay? And this might come to a surprise to some people, but it's important to have peace when all these things are going on, because it shows that you truly understand God's purpose for your life. So when all these things are happening, when your life is the worst that it can be, when your life is, you're absolutely feel like you're in hell on earth, and you have peace, that shows that you love God, all right? That shows that you have love in your heart, and that shows that you are also being joyful and grateful because you have peace. You have an understanding. You have an understanding that the things happening are meant to happen. Therefore, you're not going to give away your peace for things that you cannot control, because God is in control. So because God is in control, you can be at peace with every single thing that's happening. And you can be like, okay. And I'm not saying for you to turn into a nonchalant, non-reactive, an unemotional, unavailable person. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that means that you're not going to let every little thing that happens in your life, every single bad thing that happens in your life, every single thing that goes wrong, you're not going to allow that to take you and pull you away from being a good person. You're not going to allow that to pull you away from following God. You're not going to allow these things to pull you away from fulfilling the purpose that God outlined for you. That's what peace is about. It's about maintaining a certain level of certainty about what God is doing. That doesn't mean that you know everything that's going to happen, because only God does. That doesn't mean that you're going to have the best life, and that doesn't mean that you're going to have the worst life, but it's about understanding that God made it happen for a reason, and you can be okay with that. The next one is patience. Patience is very important. And I'm saying this as somebody who struggles with being patient, struggles with being too patient, and struggles with not being patient enough, okay? I'm saying this as somebody who struggles with patience, okay? Sometimes I feel like I have too much patience. Sometimes I feel like I have too little patience, all right? And that is the thing about patience. Patience is also a part of understanding that God has a plan for your life, and you have to follow it. All right? God has a plan for your life. For all my God-fearing individuals listen to this video, even if you don't believe in God yet, or even if you've not fully given your life over to God, you can still learn from this, because all these things are going to help you. You're gonna end up growing. You're going to end up growing closer to God just because of these things, because these things come from God. So with patience, you're going to understand, okay, everything is not just going to come to me. Everything is not going to happen immediately. I'm not supposed to get instant gratification from everything. I'm not supposed to get dopamine kicks 24/7 around the clock every 15 seconds of the day. Patience is about understanding that things take time. Patience is about understanding that what the things that you desire from life are going to take time, regardless of how much you pour into these things, regardless of how hard you're going to have patience. That way you can understand that God is going to give you those good things. All you have to do is stay down and stay focused, stay committed. All right. Stay committed, stay focused. Don't lose hope. Because that's what patience is all about. God can take 50 years to give you exactly what you deserve. God can take 100 years to give you what you deserve, but he's going to give it to you. All right? He's going to give it to you. You may think it took forever, but God knows the right timing. That's why patience is important. God may give it to you sooner. God may give it to you later. But your patience, being unwavered about this patience, having peace with your patience, being joyful, being in the moment, and having love with everything that you're doing is all going to come together and make you an amazing God-fearing individual. All right? Number 5 is kindness. All right? Number 5 is kindness. All right. Now, kindness is different from love. Okay. Kindness is not about being selfless or anything like that. That's where the love part comes in. But kindness is about understanding that you as an individual that loves God, you as a person who has God in your life, you're going to want to be kind to people. Okay? You're going to want to be kind to people because God is kind to you. God gives you things in your life that you may or may not deserve. God has patience for you that you may or may not deserve. God forgives you for stuff that you may or may not deserve that forgiveness. That's all up to God. But the truth is, having kindness, all right, having kindness is never going to be a bad thing. All right. And having kindness, that doesn't mean that you're going to allow people to walk all over you. It doesn't mean that you're going to allow people to disrespect you. But what it means is, in response to that, because you have all these other traits, because you have love, joy, peace, patience, when you add kindness to it, you're going to know what to do when disrespect arises. You're going to know what to do when an inconvenience arises that may require you to switch up a little bit, okay? That doesn't mean that you're switching up the love, joy, the peace, the patience, the kindness. It doesn't mean that you're going to lose your traits all of a sudden because something bad happened or someone tried to hurt you or whatever. You're still going to kill them with kindness, okay? Kill them with kindness. Slay your demons with kindness. Okay, because a demon cannot stand when you slay them with kindness, because that demon is not going to have more ammunition. All right, that demon is not going to have more ammunition to use against you, because if you do the opposite of kindness, if someone is rude to you, right, out in public, if someone is rude to you out in public and you respond back in a rude manner, then guess what? That can only escalate. That can only make it worse. That can only make them have a reason to be even more rude to you. But guess what? You respond in kindness. You say something, hey, have a blessed day, my brother. Have a blessed day, sister. Hey, God bless you. You tell them whatever you got to say. They're not going to have anything that they can do about it. They might get even more mad, but it does not matter because you did your part by being kind. All right. You didn't allow them to disrespect you. Right? Because you got peace in your life. You got joy in your life. You're not going to sit here and let your emotions get all riled up just because someone did something that you didn't like. You're going to maneuver with the peace that you have in your life, and you're still going to be kind. You're going to say, God bless you, and you're going to move on with your day. You're going to say, God bless you, and you'll pray for them in your head, or you pray for them when you go to your next destination. You're going to respond in kindness. All right? Because by you responding in kindness, this energy that you're putting out, right? The spirit that you have inside of you, that spirit that you're walking with, that spirit is going to become more amplified. And you're going to be filled more by God's grace, by God's glory. So that means you're going to glow even more. That kindness is coming out of you is going to come right back to you. So even the same people who disrespect you, the same people who do you wrong, you responding in kindness, those people, the next time they come around, or even the next time you see them, or even if there is a next time, or maybe you never see them again, they're going to be thinking, wow, I was so terrible to that person. I disrespected them. I did example. I did these things and they responded in kindness. Wow, I know that person has God in their life. I know that person loves God because I did all this to them and they still responded in kindness. All right. So make sure you have that skill with you. Oh, goodness. Okay. Goodness. All right. And some of these, it seems like they tie together, but the truth is all these things are separate skills that we need to master. Okay. Goodness. All right. So we talked about being kind. We talked about being patient. We talked about all these things. But goodness is about understanding the laws that God made. If God said that this is the best way to go about doing something, then you should go about doing it that way. Okay. If God said turn the other cheek, if God said go and cast down your enemy, if God said to respond in a certain way, that's what you're going to do. That's what goodness is about. It's not about being good, but it's about doing the right thing. Okay. Doing the right thing according to what God says. That's what's important. So making sure that your heart, so with goodness comes with making sure that your heart is given to God, right? That you're chasing after God mentally, physically, emotionally. You're chasing after God in all these ways. Everything that you do has God involved. So you're going to have that goodness in you where you're going to want to do the right thing because you have God in your life. And doing the right thing a lot of times may end up with you showing love, right? With you having selflessness about yourself. Because you're doing the right thing, you're going to have love. You're going to give love to people because you're not going to be acting selfish because you're wanting to do the right thing. That's where your kindness is going to come in because you want to do the right thing. This is where your patience is going to come in because you want to do the right thing by waiting, by being patient, to allow the results to come from your hard work or from whatever input that you put in that you're waiting for an outcome for. All right. Now let's go over the last. All right. Let's go over the last one. Let's go over the last one. I'll put it right here. The last one is gentleness. Okay. And this is all from God, guys. These are all the fruits of the Spirit. It's all from God. I'm not making this stuff up. All right. So this skill right here, to me, in my opinion, this skill is going to be the most important, right? Because you can have all these other skills, but having this one is going to be the most important because this leads to what I'm about to say, which is gentleness is about being humble. Gentleness is about understanding that at any moment, God can take you out of this world. Understanding that just because you're at the top of your game, just because you're at the top of your life, just because you're getting all these accolades, just because you got invited over here to the secret parties or whatever, understanding just because you're getting all these awards, just because you're getting all this recognition, just because you have all these followers, etc. Okay, because what happened? What happened to the devil? The devil was being prideful up there in heaven. The devil was being prideful up there in heaven, so God booted his butt down to earth. Okay? Because the devil apparently forgot. Okay, yeah, the devil may have been practicing some of these other things at the time, but he forgot that he still needed to be humble. He forgot that he still needed to have gentleness. And that's what the devil forgot. The devil did not have gentleness for us as human beings. He ended up being a hater and he got overconfident and prideful. And he said, you know what, God, these humans, they don't deserve all this stuff that you're giving them. The devil was mad that God was making an earth for us to rule over because he's like, oh, why aren't the angels getting the same energy? Humility. Because how much you want to bet if Satan stayed humble, he wouldn't have got kicked out of earth. If Satan stayed in his place, he would not have got kicked out of earth. So understand that even if you're on this walk with God, even if you're doing the best that you can, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, God is blessing you in ways that you never knew could happen. When you have all those things, you still have to be humble. You still got to remember where you came from. Don't be where you came from, but remember where you came from. Remember how far you came. Remember the sacrifices that had to be made. Remember that you had to let your flesh die for you to get to the point where you're at to be with the Most High God. Remember those things, okay? Because losing your humility can make you lose every other thing up here. Losing your humility can make you become impatient, can make you lose your kindness, can make you stop trying to do the right thing. Just like it happened to the devil. The devil stopped trying to do the right thing. He actively became our number one enemy. Okay? So understand that you being humble in this life is definitely the most important thing that you could do because God is going to see that. God is going to see that you're humble. He's like, okay, my God-fearing daughter, my God-fearing son, I see that you are being humble. Let me go ahead and bless you some more. Look, you see how that works? You get more blessings by being humble than being like Satan and ending up losing all your blessings, losing your title, losing your position, ending up on the dirt, ending up weak, ending up trying to sit here and fight against God. Why would you do that? Why would you sit here and try to fight against God? What's the point? You learn from the devil. Fighting against God is always going to make you a loser. Learn from the devil. Being prideful is going to make you a capital L loser. Okay? Understand these things. Without humility, all right, if you take out humility, you are now a loser. Okay? Yeah, you may have been a winner. You may have been a winner. You may have won all these things. You may have won all these prizes. You may have won all these trophies. You may have done all these great things in your life. But because you stopped being humble, you're just another loser. All right? So don't be a loser, guys. Be the God-fearing individual that you were born to be. All right? So I'm praying that this video blessed you guys. Here are the fruits of the Spirit, guys. Practice these skills. Try to hone in on these skills, okay? And give thanks to God. Give all the glory to God. Give all the praise to God, guys. In Jesus' name, see you guys next time.